Alright, let's see when I go live. Whenever this happens. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. There we go. That worked. Let's see if I'm streaming at something that's actually respectable. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not streaming at something that's actually good. It should be at 1080p, but it's apparently 480. What the fuck? Why are you 480? Edit, files, settings, stream, video, 1920 by 1080. Why is it scaled? No, don't scale. Hold on. There we go. There. Alright. That should be better. That should be really better. 1080p. Let's see the bitrate is. I haven't really live streamed in a long time. 1080 60. Wow, bitrate's not bad. Alright, let's get this started. I have to even see if this game engine still operates correctly. That's not right. Okay. I know super sampling isn't really working. I know that is... Now let's see if we can draw the entity to the screen. I don't need to draw the sprite to the actual screen. I need to do asset manager dot. I shouldn't be doing entities like this. You know what I was gonna do? I was gonna create a player, and that player was gonna be shit, what was it? An entity manager. So I need an entity manager and I need a player, more specifically. So new class entity manager, and it's going to have an array list of entities, one of which is going to be a player. So we're going to use the, what is it, the libgdx array. So array list of entity, whoa, let's make it private. Private array entity, and then make that, it's called entity, and import that. Okay. So array manager is going to have kind of the same functionality as the asset manager, which basically takes in or manages all the assets like the images, the sprites, the sounds, the music, all that stuff. So if we can find the assets directory, here we go, asset manager. Put it off to the side so I have a reference to how I made this program even, or this class. So public entity manager, and it's just gonna be a blank constructor, and we're gonna have a method called add entity. So public void add entity. Gonna take in, well, entity. We're taking string name. I think I have a name for entity, right? No, I don't. Private string name, and let's generate getters and setters for that. I don't need to get the sprite manager. That's kind of like given. I do need to get this sprite ID. That would be useful, and we're just going to cut those, paste them down here where all the getters and setters should be. Okay, now so we'll take the string name, int ID. What else do we have? Position, X, Y, an ID. Yeah, that's about it. So we just need the position. We don't really need the sprite, because we can set the sprite. right? We can set the sprite in here. Yeah, we'll be able to set the sprite, so we don't really need to set sprite in this as well. So int x and x pause, int y pause, and that should work. So let's do entities dot add entity 0, or actually a new entity at position 0, 0. Sprite manager will be, oh crap, I need to be able to pass in the manager to the entity manager, so I need to require a let's go asset manager, because this entity can be more than a sprite. So let's just do the asset manager. It's not the right one. I hate how they have their own. I mean, it's nice, but it's not. Asset manager. That's the right one. Asset manager. Alright. I'm gonna go shut the door. There we go. Okay. So basically I'll take in the asset manager dot It needs to get a sprite manager though. So I need to implement a getter and setter for sprite manager. So public sprite manager sprite get sprite manager return this dot sprite manager. Okay, now I can get it. Dot get sprite manager with the sprite ID of currently 0 and a entity ID of 0. Why isn't this? Oh, because I need to create a new this should also be a public void load entities, and this should be down here, and this should be entities equals new array. I guess that's not working, of entities, or entity, God, and just make that blank and import. That should work.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking get out of here, ads. Alright. Okay. Now we should be able to private asset manager, and we should also set this dot asset manager equals asset manager. Okay, that should work. So load entities should be the function we call to load the entity. I only want to draw this entity, so basically I need to make a function public entity get entity, and this will return. Oh, and I also need to get the end ID. Return entities dot get at index 0 index ID. Whoops. Okay. And now from that we should be able to like do like dot draw or whatever. So now if we instantiate that as a entity manager, entity manager, entity manager, entity manager equals new entity manager, and pass in the asset manager. Okay, now we should be able to load the entities. So, whoop, my fingers are not working tonight. So it should be entity manager dot load entities, and down here in the render method we should be able to do entity manager dot get entity 0 dot draw with the batch rendering method, and this should give us a drawn entity with a sprite. Yep, right there, it works. Okay. Haha. Alright. So we got an entity manager working. Let us now create a what is it? We should be able to create a player class, and that player class should be able to handle all of the player input and camera mapping and such. Let's do this. So under the entity, we need to create a new player class. Player entity. This will extend the entity class. Extends entity and add unimplemented. Okay. Player entity, all that jazz. Okay. Now, I'm trying to think how I should go about implementing this, because the main point of this entity player class is to create a player entity that will move around on the screen and everything. Like if you press WASD or whatever, it'll move and it'll track the camera to the player using this right here, this input processing class that I've already created. I think I'm gonna pass in the input class instead of directly feeding information from the input class. Basically, go back from the main method and basically have to set the input class, just in case we want to set more than one. So I think I'm gonna do that. So, all right, let's do it. So first off, I need to even make sure I can do that. And if you guys are wondering, over on this other screen, I have documentation of the libgdx library that I'm using to create my game engine, which is a very nice library. It's built off of the Slick 2D library. It's the same guy who made that. And everything's very well documented. Querying input. I saw that somewhere. Keyboard. Here we go. Basically, you have to set the default, input method. But I don't know where that is. Let's just go to simple game. I know it's in this code. I know it was in this code. This was the first thing that you should look at if you look at this this thing. This is just querying though. I don't need to query. I need to set as a default listener. Let's just look that up actually. Lib gdx set input listener. Event handling. I mean, okay, here we go. GDX set input processor. This is what does it. So on the create method, we want to set that. So we want to. I already have the input processor here. Do I call input processor anywhere in here already though? Because I want to clean up my code. No, I don't, but I already create it. So all I have to do is basically say use this. I just gotta organize this code because this is bothering me. Okay, this should work. Now I just need to set the input processor. So gdx.input. Oh, I'm not need to switch screens. gdx.input dot set input processor, set it to the input stream. Okay. Now the entity manager should handle the entities. So I don't think the player should be in the main class. It should be in the entity manager, which closed, damn it. I guess not. So the entity manager is here. So here we need to implement a way to get input to the user. Did I use a set name? In the set name, did I take in set spread a set? Yeah, okay. I didn't do this right. Int ID string name, and then we need to do. Oh, that was right actually. Entities dot set 0 dot get 0 dot set name. Huh? Why isn't that? Oh, it's right here. Set name. We'll set this to player. That way I'm able to easily distinguish what that is. Because entity 0 needs to be player. Okay. Ow. So now that we have that, we should be able to pass that onto the player. So okay, here we go. We can get the entity, and then we can say if the entity dot 0. Okay, yeah, this works. So here we can just public void set input processor, and we will do private ages input processor input, and this dot input equals, and you take it in ages input processor and take an input and then just set it to input. Okay, Now we should be able to directly interact with this class through the entity manager to the main class, and here we should be able to handle our logic. For now, I'm going to make a player input class. This is just the input processor, not the input class itself. So the input class itself for the player will get the information from the input processor and then apply that to the player entity itself. Basically like a 3-part process, so you have more control over what everything does, and it's more organized that way too. So as of right now, we're basically just going to assign the input processor to the player entity through the input or the entity manager class. So
leave the app, not your music. Listen anywhere, anytime. Listen to it all.
okay, now that we have that, we are going to pass that. We're going to basically play.
YouTube Red.
Hey Vsauce, Michael here. Fuck you, Griffin. So entity manager dot get entity ID dot set. Fuck. Oh, you son of a bitch! I fucking hate you, you cunt lord. Set input processor. What the fuck? Why isn't it? Dot set. Fine. Why isn't this? Dot get entity. Why isn't this? Why isn't it doing this? Okay. Entity manager, get entity. But here's the thing. It's not gonna work that way. It won't interact directly. It's not interacting. Dot entity dot set. This is making me mad. Like, it's not seeing that there's an input processor, and I don't know why. It should definitely be an input processor. Huh. Okay. Oh, you know what? That's why. Because it wasn't the right entity subchild. What the? Set input processor. That should be it. Not set input. Oh. I should just return a player entity. But that's not a player entity. You have to cast it? You serious? There we go. That worked. Okay. What the hell? Set input process. Aegis input processor and player entity. That is definitely Definitely right there. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's definitely right there. Excuse me? That is literally right there in the player entity class. Set input processor, ages input processor, and player entity. That is definitely right there. It held you for review. Oh, that's funny. Okay. It's still giving me an error that... Okay, let's just see if it runs. It worked! It was just fucking freaking out. That is the weirdest thing. Okay. Now we should be able to get direct input, so... Public void get input. Let's just do a throwaway method. If input dot is key down input dot keys dot d let's set... Oh, I also need to... Oh. This dot x... set x position... Get x position plus 200. And that should definitely work. Nope. Did not work. Oh, I know why it didn't work. Because it's not constantly getting that. Player... Or, no. It should be entity manager dot get entity ID 0 dot get input. Now it should work. Nope, not working. Oh my god, why are you guys like this? Oh my god. Oh shit. It's not pulling. Why isn't it pulling? It should be pulling, but it's not pulling. Okay. Okay. Is it even okay? System.out.println test. I have to get console input. Console. And basically it's not receiving at all. Okay. Okay. I don't understand. Okay, so why isn't this working? I think it should work with a batch. That's probably the issue, so put this in the batch. Nope, still not working. It's not even polling. I'm trying to think, where do I put the poll? Okay, so I need to set, it's working here, it's setting the input processor. Let's see if the input processor actually even works. That's the wrong one. Okay. Dot print test. Oh wow. Okay, stop printing test. So that works. So why isn't it? Okay. Player entities should be getting these. So the key down event works, but for some reason it's not passing. Oh! Let's see if... Okay, it is working. So if player entity is actually getting input then, so if I take that away, oh, then that should work. So basically this shouldn't output anything then. And it is. Okay, so it's not right. It's still printing this. I guess this input processor is going to be the backend for now then. Even though it shouldn't be. It should be able to pass over to the player entity, which should send data. And it's not. Okay. So why isn't it sending data? It's obviously doing something with the player. Because this is called... That is called, so that should work. Yeah, it's called. So it creates it. Is it because it isn't rendering it? Like, over and over again? But I think it is. I think that's what this is. Yeah, okay. So it is rendering it, and it's not doing it right. So it's rendering the player.
Leave the app, not your music. Listen anywhere, anytime.
But it's not passing the input.
All your music, no interruptions.
Okay.
YouTube Red. Start your
So this should be constantly polling for input. I don't need this anymore. So if this is right, entity manager dot get that get entity 0 dot get input. Yes. So that's working. Why isn't it? Doing this then? Is it just getting stuck? Dot keys. I think I have some idea of what's going on. But I don't know why. So basically it's throwing the input in there. And it should be checking the if statement, but the if statement isn't working. Is it getting stuck? If it's getting stuck, it won't get past this. And it shouldn't print out, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, it is. So it's not pulling right. Why isn't it pulling right? It's printing test still, I don't know why. I thought I got rid of that. Nope. Oh, you know what? I should definitely just do this. And not do this. Because I don't need to do that. I can just pass it in. And that should give me something different. Yeah, like an error. An error is pretty fun. Oh, it's because I deleted that. Yeah, it's not giving me anything different. I don't know why. It should be processing it. And it's not. It's passing it in. I don't know why it's not. Because I know it's working. I just don't know why it's not passing in the input correctly. It will be called before the action listener.render method each frame. So this then system dot out dot print line, and then if I do test, okay, you know what? I'll just do input processing for not keys, but for booleans, which is a shitty way of doing it. So why isn't this working right? It's passing the input in. It should be. Now, okay. I think I know what the issue is. Not really. I just said that because I don't know why. It's just not working. Yeah, I have no clue why that's... It should be passing it. Live GGX passing input to class. It shouldn't be this difficult. Pressed down, released. Okay, input manager. Oh. You should call update after game logic involving input has been processed. Okay. Input manager. So that's right. So let's see if that works. Long and behold, it doesn't. Oh, because I'm not pushing the right key. Still doesn't work. Okay. Let us just create a player input class. Class player input and here we will do public player input, and we're going to take in the ages ages input processor, and we're going to name it input. Private input ages input processor input. This dot input equals input. If input dot key down input dot keys dot d system dot out dot print line test. Now with this, we'll just delete that. Delete this. Player input equals new, or player input. Import that. Player import equals new. Player import, or import input. And let's see if that works. And we'll just create a public get public void get player input, and this method will be called whenever it's rendered. So here we're going to call player input dot get player input. Oh my god, I hate this. I fucking hate this.
Leave the app, not your music. Listen anywhere, anytime. Listen to it all ad-free. All your music, no interruptions. YouTube Red. Start your free trial.
Input dot oh! Okay, so why isn't this working? I don't understand. I've been stumped on this for the longest time. I don't understand how it's taking me so long. Yeah, I don't get it. Why? It should be polling. So I guess, okay, hold on. I don't get it. Like, why isn't this, why is this isn't coming out true? It should be passing. It should be passing true. Like, it should be doing that. But it's not. Oh, what if I extends? Oh my god. If this fucking works, I'm gonna be pissed. Give me a sec. Hold on. And then let's just like take that out. Wait. No. Well, I guess since it's a child class, you could set it to player. You know what? That could work. I'd be fine with that. But it's not. Okay. Okay, first off, let's do this. Give me a sec. Let's do a switch. Key code case keys.d system.out.println test and then break. Let's see if that works. And then we can override. That works. Okay, so we can take in player input and let's see if this works. It works! Okay, cool, cool, cool. Alright. Thank God I got that to work. Alright, so now we can say... player... Oh! Player... entity... player private and now we can do public player input and pass in a player entity player and do this dot player equals player dot set xpos player dot get xpos plus 200 and now we can pass in entity manager that get 0. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is fine. Expose is it? Set X pause. It'd be this dot sprite dot set position expose sprite dot get y. And then we do get y pause. Okay, let's see how that works. Yep, that works. Set y pause. Here we go. Okay. Set this to y. Oh. Get x pause. And then set this to y pause. That was set inward. Okay. Oh. Okay, so now I have to think. If it's held down. Whoops. Ah! Stop doing that. Okay. Alright, so that gives me the same exact thing. So if key code is equal to keys.d private float speed equals 1. Player dot set x position player dot get x pause plus speed. Oh, and it's because I have to set this back to player input. Huh. Okay. libgdx private boolean right equal boolean right, or whoops, right equals true. Public void okay, if right player dot set x position player dot get x position plus 10. And now we're going to this should, all right, yep, that works. So now we have bass player movement. That's nice. Now we just have to do the same thing with, all right, public boolean key up and key code false yep. Got that working. Alright. Time to do this for everything. Alright. Case keys dot a, so private boolean left private boolean right up private boolean down. Case A, left equals true, break. Case keys dot W, up equals true, break. Case keys dot S, down equals true, break. Basically do the same exact thing, except false. False, 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 and else return false. And now same with this. If 1, 2, 3, if right, left, up, and down, we want to minus 10. Shoot, I can't remember how the coordinate plane works on this one. Oh, it might help if I have a Y. There we go. Okay, the coordinate plane works correctly. So now I want to work with the camera positions. So we want to pass in the camera with the constructor as well. So I forgot even ISO camera is what it is. ISO camera. Let's import that. Private ISO camera, and this dot camera equals camera, and then we also want to camera dot set X position player dot get X position plus 10. Would that work? Would that work? I don't know if that'll work. Well, I have to also pass in the camera. I don't know if that'll work. No. It won't work. You have to get the camera position. Because it won't stick with the player. Camera dot get X position plus 10. Now it'll be fluent and you won't have that little I guess either way you'll have a jut. I don't know. I guess that's something that's gonna be fixed. Set Y, camera Y, and Y, a minus, and a minus up here. This way, you can have camera positioning with player, except with that weird freaking juddering. Maybe it's just because it's the amount of pixels you're moving. You shouldn't do that though. That's just too small. 5, let's try 5 pixels. 5 pixels seems like a fair number. So what seems to be happening is it's moving and then it gets shoved back. It could have to do with the rendering. It could be the rendering method. It is the rendering method. I definitely know that is the rendering method. It's because the player movement is after the... I guess that doesn't make a difference. Huh. I don't know. I don't know. That is a mystery to be solved another time. I guess I'll have to move on to the next thing other than player movement. And I fucking hate the next thing is going to be collision detection. I fucking hate collision detection. Actually, I could work on animation before I go to collision detection. Honestly. Which I have. I have a way of getting all of that set up basically already. I have the frames. I just have to make an animation system, which I've already kind of looked at, except I didn't like it. I didn't like the animation systems. It didn't seem very fun. I guess I'll go with animation though, because I take animation over fucking collision detection any day. I mean, I could do zooming in and out too, which is another player control. I'm gonna do a quick fix though with the isometric movement. You're gonna want to do so it's just comment out the player movement. Well, first off, I want to do lateral movement and see if lateral movement will work. So you have to create an ISO. This is basically a game engine, so it has to be used for everything.
Yeah, not your music. Listen
So basically, I'm gonna create an option or a switch that switches between the two movements. It's gonna be a Boolean. ISO. Boolean isometric. This dot isometric equals isometric. Basically just kind of stalling because I don't want to do either one of those things. True. And if right and isometric, I'm gonna comment out the cameras for all of these for now. Where we can calculate it easier. And isometric, we want to calculate the X and Y positions for both. So you want to have the Y position being half the X position. So you want to take X and Y, and you want to take the Y position of this and divide by 2. That should give you lateral movement for isometric. And then this, and then this. Left. And right. Let's see if that's even right. I don't think it is. What? Huh? Okay, if it's up. Oh, you know what? That would make sense. X. X. I was like, that can't be that easy. X. X. And so basically, let's just do this and see what that does. Five divided by 2. It's half lateral movement. It's not half lateral movement plus, it's half lateral movement. That's it. That's it right there. Okay. But now we have to do up and down, which should be kind of the same thing. So if we want up will be this way. So it will be y plus and x minus. Yep, okay. And now we need y or x plus and y plus and do that and do this and do that and do this, and that should give us our lateral down movement, right? No. Still don't know how this coordinate plane works. It's different than the old one. Yeah, that works. Okay. Now we just need to do the same thing with the camera. Camera. And just add a space. Basically do this, but replace player with camera and camera. Okay. It's because I've made these classes so almost identical that I'm able just to do this, and it's for this very reason, so I can just copy and paste shit. Because I'm lazy. Okay. It's gonna build Gradle. No, we don't want... What is wrong with this? It's because it's the X and Y position. Duh. X position. And X position. And now it should work. No, it doesn't. It's because of this. And because of this. Should have just purely copied and pasted. X position. Oh. Holy shit. Wow. There we go. X and Y lateral movement for isometric maps. Done. See? Boop, boop, boop. Except that's not really 100% right. I'm not for perfection right now though. It's just an engine. It's conceptual. Yeah, conceptual. So not worried about it being perfect. It just needs to be decent. Basically the reason it's not perfect is because there's so many variables that goes into this. It's how everything has to work perfectly together. It's how the camera handles the isometric view and how the isometric the map itself is drawn. Between those two, the math gets very complicated, and I don't want to do that math right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy and paste all of this, all of what I just did, and delete half of it. So starts with right, yeah. So just delete this, delete that, delete that, delete that, and just delete this and this, this and this, this, this and this, this and this and this and this, and we have the regular lateral movement. So now if we don't want to move in isometric space, do this. Except I did it wrong. Y, and Y. And Y, and Y, and Y, and Y. And reverse. Plus, minus, build Gradle launch. I love how just there's a floating FPS counter. You can like walk to it. Like that. So now we have a working isometric and lateral placement shift. I haven't really seen. It's really neat how that scales. Oh wow. I haven't really tested to see how the rendering breaks. Yeah, that's pretty fun. Yeah, that I gotta fix the rendering method, but again, that's a lot of math I don't want to do right now. But it's really neat how you can like just shift the perspective. That is one huge added benefit from the other, you know, libraries working off of. Okay, so now we have that working. We don't really need to worry about the placement. So now we need to do the animations. The animations. Do I want to do the animations? Do I really want to do the animations? Or do I want to do collision? Because collision might be actually easier. I might do the animations. I don't know how to do the animations though. I've never done the animations. So wow, I don't like this song. No. That song freaks my ears out. I want to take a break. Because I've been coding literally almost all day. Like, this is the accumulation of an entire day's work. Give or take, like, 5 classes. Shitty. Been very, very shitty. This fucking game engine's giving me an aneurysm. I'm going to set it back to isometric. Because I like isometric versus a lateral movement. I'm tempted just to create a mouse player class. Because mouse player class sounds so much better than... Okay. That is a foreseeable error I should have seen. And we have to do the and if false. And if and isometric is equal to false. Because it's doing the calculations for both, not just the one. Hence why I'm moving very weird. Yeah, there we go. That fixed the movements. What the fuck? I deleted an isometric rule. Basically just gonna copy and paste this. And we're gonna do minus and minus. Okay. That should work. Ah! No. No work. No. Why? That's why. Should be minus and plus. Or, yeah, minus, plus, minus, plus. There we go. There we go. All the isometric calculations should that works decent. Decent. Except that speeds it up movement is very shit right now, but I will work on that later. So now that we got that done, I have two options to work on the player mouse class, which basically is the player mouse, or I can work on the player animations, which either one is very painful, and collision detection's on the list of some stuff to get done. But all of this is everything I've done. I've done all of this so far today. Fucking input processing, entity manager. The entity class was a pain. The entity, basically to get the entity animation working was a fucking pain. Player entity was easy because it's just an extension of entity. The main game was easy because this just implements everything. Might want to push team commit. I'm going to push these and say added entity manager player entity manager and movement, or input rather. So under this we're gonna say entity manager entity, and in this we're gonna say added complete entity support excluding collision and rigid body. Added support for sprite sheet framing for entity and input processor. What was the third? What was the other type? There was isometric movement, there's the regular movement, but I can't remember the name. And oh, forgot what it was called. There's isometric. I don't remember. Isometric chord system. I forgot what was it called though. There was isometric and then there was the other one, and I need to Need to find the correct term, or this is gonna like make me mad. Oh, it's Cartesian. That's it. Isometric movement. Cartesian movement. That's what it was called. Cartesian's the up and down. So it was Cartesian and isometric. Camera player. Player input. Okay. Good push. Okay. That's good. That's good. We just pushed all of this glorious work of code. So now we have a player movement. We could start working on more fun stuff like the GUI, but then fucking player animation won't work or won't get done. So entity manager. Sprite manager. And sprite ID and ID. If we set this to 1, it'll give an error, right? Yeah, because there's no 1. So asset manager, and you set the sprite ID to 1. Okay. The ID should be equivalent that. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna be done live streaming and probably take a break from this for a while because I've been doing this all day. I'm gonna blow my brains out if I go anymore. Because I got a lot of work done though. I got a lot of work done. Wow. Unfortunately, YouTube Studio doesn't support. Wow, okay. Alright, well. I'll see everybody later. Because this sucks. I hate this. I fucking love coding and I hate it at the same time. It's just one of those things. Alright.